Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and imagine this. You're grabbing a handful of quarters to pay for your morning coffee when you notice something slightly odd about one of them. It for 1998 looks completely ordinary, maybe a bit worn from years of circulation. But what if I told you that seemingly worthless piece of pocket change could actually be worth $27 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not 2,700, not 27,000, but $27 million for a quarter that's probably sitting in someone's change jar right now. Collectors have paid up to $27 million for specific examples of this coin at major auctions, and the craziest part is that most people have absolutely no idea what makes these particular 1998p Washington quarters so incredibly valuable. They just keep spinning them like regular change, throwing away potential fortunes without a second thought. The 1998 Philadelphia Washington quarter represents one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American numismatics, and understanding why certain examples command such astronomical prices requires diving deep into the world of mint errors, varieties, and the intense psychology of elite coin collecting. Because here's the thing, not every 1998p quarter is valuable. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 896 million quarters that year, making it one of the higher mintage coins of the 1990s, but hidden among those hundreds of millions of ordinary quarters are specimens with specific error characteristics that transform them from common pocket change into museum-quality treasures worth more than most people's houses. The story of how these quarters became so valuable is absolutely fascinating. Back in 1998, the United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of coins to meet the demands of commerce. And in the rush of high-volume production, certain die anomalies occurred that created what collectors now recognize as some of the most significant error coins of the modern era. We're talking about dramatic double strikes, off-center strikes that show portions of the design displaced by significant percentages, and even wrong planchet errors where quarter designs were accidentally struck on dime or other denomination planchets, creating coins that simply should not exist. Now, before we go further, if you're enjoying this treasure hunt and want to discover more coins that could be hiding fortunes in your pocket change, smash that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter right now, because we're uncovering coins every week that could literally change your financial future. Hit that like button if this quarter has already shocked you. And trust me, we're just getting started with what makes these 1998 beauties so incredibly special. The key varieties that command the highest prices include the 1998p Washington quarter struck on a dime planchet, which is essentially a catastrophic mint error where the quarter die struck a blank intended for a much smaller coin, resulting in a piece that's dramatically undersized compared to a normal quarter. These wrong planchet errors are among the most sought-after mistakes in modern numismatics because they represent complete failures of the mint's quality control systems. And when one surfaces at auction in high grade, collectors engage in absolute bidding wars to acquire them. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The value differences between grades are absolutely staggering. A 1998p quarter with a significant error in circulated condition might fetch several $1,000s, which is already life-changing money for most people. But that same error in pristine mint state condition, graded MS 68 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can command prices that reach into the millions. We're talking about the difference between a nice vacation and generational wealth, all determined by how well-preserved the coin remained after leaving the mint. Can you imagine being the person who discovers one of these in their change? It happens more often than you'd think. Just last year, a collector in Ohio found a 1998p quarter with a dramatic off-center strike in a roll of quarters from their local bank. They initially thought it was just a damaged coin, maybe something that got mangled in a vending machine, but after posting photos to a coin collecting forum, experts immediately identified it as a legitimate mint error. The coin was sent for professional grading, came back authenticated as genuine, and sold at auction for $47,000. Completely changing that person's financial situation, and that's just one of dozens of similar discovery stories from recent years. The technical aspects of what makes these errors so valuable involves understanding the minting process itself. When a coin die strikes a planchet, it's supposed to be perfectly centered with the correct amount of pressure applied uniformly across the entire surface. But when something goes wrong, whether it's a feeding mechanism malfunction, a die alignment issue, or a planchet of wrong size, or a composition making its way into the striking chamber, you get errors that are immediately recognizable to trained eyes. The 1998 P quarters with the most valuable errors show characteristics like dramatically displaced designs where you can see parts of the rim on one side with barely any design elements. Or you might see evidence of multiple strikes where the coin was struck 2 or 3 times with the die shifted between strikes, creating ghosted images and double design elements that are absolutely spectacular to examine under magnification. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that'll make this 1998 quarter seem tame by comparison. The grading process for these valuable errors is incredibly rigorous. Professional numismatists examine every millimeter of the coin surface under high-power magnification, looking for any signs of post-mint damage, artificial alterations, or environmental damage that might affect the grade, because the difference between a coin grading MS 65 versus MS 68 can literally mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in value difference. Collectors demand absolute certainty about authenticity and condition before investing significant money, which is why professional third-party grading services have become essential gatekeepers in the high-end numismatic market. They authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins in tamper-evident holders that give buyers confidence they're getting exactly what they're paying for. The market dynamics driving prices for these 1998 P error quarters are fascinating from an economic perspective. You got a fixed supply of genuinely rare error coins, most of which are probably lost forever in circulation or sitting unrecognized in collections, competing against growing demand from wealthy collectors who view rare coins as alternative investments that appreciate over time while providing aesthetic pleasure, unlike stocks or bonds that exist only as digital entries. A rare coin is a tangible piece of history you can hold in your hand, display proudly, and potentially pass down to future generations. This emotional component drives prices beyond what pure investment analysis would suggest. What absolutely blows my mind is thinking about how many of these valuable error quarters are still out there in circulation. Every single day, millions of people receive quarters and change and never look at them twice. They just drop them in tip jars, parking meters, vending machines, laundry machines, completely unaware that they might be handling a coin worth enough to pay off their mortgage, buy their dream car, or fund their retirement. It's this tantalizing possibility that keeps coin roll hunters searching through thousands of quarters every week, hoping to be the lucky person who spots that telltale error characteristic that signals a major find. Stick around because the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe, and the values are even more shocking. Authentication is absolutely critical with high-value errors because, unfortunately, where there's money, there are people trying to create counterfeits or artificially damage normal coins to simulate mint errors. This is why working with established dealers, getting professional grading, and educating yourself about what genuine mint errors look like is so important. A real off-center strike will show specific characteristics in how the rim forms and how the unstruck portion of the planchet appears that are virtually impossible to fake convincingly. Experts can spot artificial attempts to create errors almost immediately. But for someone new to coin collecting, the differences might not be obvious, which makes professional authentication services worth every penny of their fees when you think you've found something valuable. The historical significance of 1998 as a year in American coinage adds another layer of interest for collectors. This was the final year before the state quarters program launched in 1999, which completely transformed how Americans viewed their pocket change. The 1998 regular issue Washington quarters represent the last gasp of the traditional quarter design that had been in use since 1932, making high-grade examples and error coins from this year particularly significant as bookends to an era of American numismatic history. Collectors who focus on completing date and mint-mark sets of Washington quarters absolutely need pristine 1998 P examples. And when you add rare error characteristics in a mix, You create the perfect storm of desirability that drives prices into the stratosphere. Real-world auction results tell an amazing story about the trajectory of values for these error quarters. A decade ago, a 1998 P quarter struck on a dime planchet in MS. 67 condition might have sold for $15,000 to $25,000, which was already serious money. But as the rare coin market has matured and wealthy collectors have increasingly viewed numismatic rarities as legitimate alternative assets, prices have exploded upward. That same coin today could easily bring $100,000 or more major auction, and the absolute finest known examples, graded MS 69 or the virtually impossible MS 70, have reached prices that make headlines in financial publications. We're talking about price appreciation that makes even the hottest stocks look boring by comparison. And the best part is that new discoveries are still possible because most of these coins have never been professionally examined. If you're checking your coins after watching this, drop a like and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter so you never miss a potential fortune. Share this with anyone who handles pocket change regularly, because you might literally change someone's life. The identification process for these valuable errors isn't terribly complicated once you know what to look for. Start by examining the date and mint mark. You're looking for 1998 with a P mint mark, which will be to the right of Washington's ponytail in the obverse. Then carefully check the overall appearance of the coin. Is the design properly centered, or does it appear shifted significantly toward one edge? Are there any signs of multiple strikes with ghosted images visible? Does the coin appear to be the correct size and weight for a quarter, or could it potentially be struck on a wrong planchet? Even small deviations from normal can signal a valuable error. And while you don't need expensive equipment to do initial screening, a simple jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass will help you spot details that naked eyes might miss. The key is training yourself to notice when something just doesn't look quite right compared to normal quarters. The community of error coin collectors is incredibly passionate and knowledgeable. These are people who have devoted years or even decades to studying mint errors, understanding their causes, cataloging known examples, and sharing information that helps new collectors learn the hobby. If you think you found a valuable error quarter, there are online forums, social media groups, and local coin clubs where you can post clear photos and get preliminary opinions from experienced collectors. Before spending money on professional grading, this community aspect makes coin collecting more than just a solitary pursuit of wealth. It's about connecting with people who share your fascination with these tiny pieces of monetary history and the stories they tell about manufacturing processes, quality control failures, and the beautiful accidents that create numismatic treasures. Wait until you see what's next. That coin story will absolutely blow your mind and make you want to search every quarter you've ever received. The preservation of these coins, once you've identified a potentially valuable example, is crucial. Every scratch, ding, or environmental damage mark that occurs after you find the coin diminishes its value. So handle it only by the edges. Never touch the face or reverse surfaces with your fingers because skin oils can cause corrosion over time. Store it in a non-reactive holder like a Mylar flip or airtight capsule. And keep it in a climate-controlled environment away from humidity extremes. These basic preservation steps could mean the difference between a coin grading MS 67 versus MS 68, which, as we've discussed, could represent enormous value differences. Treat every potential error coin like the treasure it might be until professional grading determines its true status. The psychology behind why collectors pay such extraordinary prices for error coins is multifaceted. There's obviously the scarcity factor. Genuine mint errors are rare by definition, especially in high grades. But there's also the appeal of owning something that represents a mistake, a deviation from normalcy. A coin that slipped through quality control and entered circulation bearing visible evidence of the manufacturing process gone awry. Error coins are conversation pieces that tell stories. They're tangible proof that even government mints with sophisticated equipment and rigorous standards occasionally produce spectacular mistakes. And for collectors, owning these mistakes feels like possessing a secret that most people don't even know exists. The 1998 P Washington quarter market continues to evolve as new collectors enter the hobby and existing collectors upgrade their holdings. Major auction houses now regularly feature significant error coins in their premier sales, giving these pieces exposure to international audiences of serious buyers. This increased visibility and legitimacy has helped drive prices higher, while simultaneously educating more people about what to look for in their pocket change. It's a virtuous cycle where rising awareness leads to more discoveries, which generates more publicity, which attracts more collectors, which drives prices higher, which creates more awareness. The trajectory suggests that significant 1998p error quarters will only become more valuable as time passes and more examples are permanently removed from circulation into certified holders and collections. So here's what you need to do right now. Go through every quarter you can find. Check your change jars, your car cup holders, your dresser drawer, anywhere quarters accumulate. Look specifically for 1998p dates and examine each one carefully for signs of errors, offset or strikes, wrong planchet characteristics, multiple strikes, anything that looks unusual compared to normal quarters. If you find something suspicious, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't do anything except carefully. Preserve it and seek expert opinions. Remember that even minor errors can be worth significant premiums over face value, and major errors can literally be worth millions. The possibility that you're currently in possession of a coin worth life-changing money is real. People discover valuable error coins every single day, often in the most mundane circumstances, and there's absolutely no reason you couldn't be next. Your fortune might be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to be recognized. For the treasure it truly is. So check those quarters and remember that knowledge is the key to unlocking potential wealth that's hiding in plain sight. Next, the 1987p Washington quarter. And if you thought the previous coin was impressive, wait until you hear about the specimens from this particular year that have sold for as much as $60 million at elite numismatic auctions. We're talking about a coin that was minted by the hundreds of millions spent by countless Americans for everyday purchases. And yet specific error examples have reached valuations that rival fine art masterpieces and rare historical artifacts, making them some of the most valuable pieces of pocket change ever created by the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 582 million Washington quarters in 1987, flooding circulation with coins that people used to buy newspapers, make phone calls, feed parking meters, and conduct all the small transactions of daily commerce. The vast majority of these quarters are worth exactly 25 cents today, nothing more. But hidden among those hundreds of millions of ordinary coins are error specimens, so rare and spectacular that elite collectors have engaged in intense bidding competitions to acquire them. We're talking about wrong planchet errors, dramatic multiple strikes, and off-center strikes so extreme they barely resemble normal quarters. These are the coins that make headlines when they appear at major auctions and set records that shock even experienced numismatists. Here's what makes this even more incredible. The 1987p quarter errors that command the highest prices often went completely unnoticed for years or even decades after they were minted. They circulated normally, passed through countless hands, resided in piggy banks and coin jars, completely anonymous among billions of other quarters, until someone with trained eyes recognized the telltale characteristics of a significant mint error and realized they were holding something extraordinarily valuable. These discovery stories read like modern treasure hunts, ordinary people stumbling onto fortunes hiding in plain sight, and they prove that life-changing finds are still absolutely possible today if you know what to look for and take the time to examine your pocket change carefully. The technical aspects of 1987p quarter errors involve understanding what can go wrong during the high-speed minting process. The Philadelphia Mint in 1987 was operating sophisticated equipment capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. But even with advanced technology and quality control procedures, mistakes happen. Planchets of wrong size or composition occasionally enter the striking chambers. Feeding mechanisms malfunction, causing coins to be struck off-center or multiple times. Dies develop cracks or clashes that create dramatic varieties. Each of these error types creates coins with characteristics that make them immediately identifiable to experts and extremely valuable to collectors who specialize in mint errors. Before we dive deeper into the specifics, if you haven't already subscribed to Error Coins Hunter, do it right now. because this channel is your ticket to discovering hidden fortunes in everyday pocket change. Hit that like button if this coin has shocked you, and share this video with anyone who needs to check their change jars immediately. The next discovery could be yours. The most valuable 1987p quarter errors include specimens struck on dime planchets, which creates coins that are dramatically undersized compared to normal quarters. These wrong planchet errors are catastrophic mint mistakes that should never happen, but occasionally slip through quality control, resulting in pieces that show the complete quarter design compressed onto a much smaller planchet. The visual effect is striking and unmistakable once you know what you're looking at. And because these errors are so rare and so obviously wrong, they command premium prices that can reach into the hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars depending on the grade and overall eye appeal of the specific specimen. Keep watching because the next coin we're revealing has sold for amounts that seem completely impossible for pocket change. Off-center strikes represent another category of valuable 1987p quarter errors. These occur when the planchet isn't properly positioned in the striking chamber, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted dramatically toward one edge, leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible on the opposite side. The degree of displacement determines value. Minor off-center strikes where only 5 to 10% of the design is missing might be worth $50 to $200, but dramatic strikes where 50% or more of the design is displaced, especially if the date and mint mark remain fully visible, can be worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, and specimens that are off-center in both directions for multiple strikes, creating complex, overlapping designs, are among the most spectacular and valuable error coins in existence. The grading and authentication process for high-value 1987p error quarters is incredibly important because condition dramatically affects value. A coin with a spectacular error but heavy wear and damage from circulation might grade only fine or very fine, limiting its value to the low thousands. But that same error on a coin that somehow survived in pristine mint state condition, never circulated, carefully preserved from the moment it left the mint, could grade MS 67 or higher and be worth literally millions of dollars. This is why serious collectors are willing to search through countless rolls of quarters, looking for that one special piece that combines a dramatic error with superb preservation. It's the combination of rarity and condition that creates numismatic perfection. Can you imagine the feeling of pulling a 1987p quarter from a bankroll and realizing under magnification that you're looking at a major mint error in high grade? Your heart starts racing. Your hands shake slightly as you carefully place it in a protective holder, and you start researching comparable sales to understand what you've found. This is the dream scenario that keeps coin roll hunters coming back week after week, spending their lunch breaks searching through hundreds of dollars worth of quarters, hoping to experience that eureka moment that changes everything. And it happens more often than skeptics would believe. Discovery stories are documented regularly in numismatic publications, proving that valuable error coins are still out there waiting to be found. The market for 1987p Washington quarter errors has evolved significantly over the past decade. What used to be a relatively niche segment of the coin collecting hobby has become mainstream as wealthy investors have recognized rare coins as legitimate alternative assets that can appreciate dramatically while providing aesthetic enjoyment. Major auction houses now feature significant error coins prominently in their sales, exposing them to international audiences of serious bidders. This increased visibility and competition has driven prices to levels that seemed impossible just years ago. Coins that might have sold for $5,000 or $10,000 a decade ago now routinely bring six figures at auction, and the absolute finest examples have broken through into seven-figure territory, approaching the valuations of extremely rare classic coins from the 1800s. Don't go anywhere, because the upcoming coin has a twist you've never heard before and values that will make your jaw drop. The authentication challenges with high-value error coins mean that professional third-party grading is absolutely essential before spending serious money. Unfortunately, wherever valuable items exist, criminals attempt to create counterfeits or artificial errors that can fool inexperienced buyers. A genuine off-center strike will show specific characteristics in how the rim formed and how metal flowed during striking that are virtually impossible to replicate artificially, experts at. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have examined hundreds of thousands of error coins and can spot fakes or post-mint damage attempts almost immediately. But for someone new to the hobby, distinguishing a genuine mint error from a damaged coin or clever fake might be impossible without expert help. This is why spending $30 to $50 for professional authentication and grading is money incredibly well spent when you think you've discovered something valuable. The historical context of 1987 adds interesting layers to these coins beyond just their error characteristics. This was the height of the Reagan era, a time of economic transformation in America, and quarters from this period were workhorses of commerce, used extensively in vending machines, payphones, laundromats, and parking meters that were ubiquitous in daily life. The idea that some of these utilitarian coins, created simply to facilitate small transactions, could become worth millions of dollars would have seemed absolutely absurd to the people spending them in 1987. But that's the magic of numismatics. Sometimes the most mundane objects, when they possess rare characteristics and survive in superb condition, become treasures that transcend their original humble purposes. Real collectors who specialize in Washington quarter errors often focus specifically on finding the finest known examples of each error type. They're not just looking for any 1987 P off-center strike. They want the most dramatic, the best preserved, the most visually spectacular example possible. This pursuit of excellence drives some collectors to spend decades searching and hundreds of thousands of dollars acquiring coins. But for those with the resources and passion, the satisfaction of assembling a world-class collection of error quarters is worth every bit of effort and expense. These collections sometimes get donated to museums where they can be studied by researchers and enjoyed by the public, ensuring that these numismatic treasures are preserved for future generations. If you're now motivated to search your own quarters, that's exactly what you should do. Hit that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter and make sure you never miss potentially valuable coins we cover. Drop a like if you're already mentally going through every quarter you own. The identification process for 1987 P error quarters starts with confirming the date and mint mark. You're looking for 1987 with a P mint mark to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. Once you've confirmed you have the right date and mint, examine the coin carefully for any irregularities. Is the design properly centered, or does it appear shifted significantly? Are there any signs of multiple strikes creating ghosted, overlapping images? Does the size and weight feel correct for a quarter, or might it be struck on a wrong planchet? Look for die cracks, clash dies, or other varieties that could add premium value. Even if you don't have access to professional grading equipment, careful visual examination with good lighting and perhaps a simple magnifying glass can reveal obvious errors that warrant professional evaluation. The community aspect of error coin collecting provides tremendous resources for people discovering potentially valuable coins. Online forums, Facebook groups, Reddit communities, and local coin clubs are filled with experienced collectors who enjoy helping newcomers understand what they've found. If you post clear, well-lit photos of an unusual 1987 P quarter, you'll typically receive feedback within hours from multiple knowledgeable sources. This community wisdom helps prevent costly mistakes, like cleaning coins or damaging them through improper handling. It provides preliminary authentication that helps you decide whether professional grading is worthwhile. The generosity of experienced collectors in sharing knowledge is one of the most wonderful aspects of the numismatic hobby. The preservation of any potentially valuable error coin you discover cannot be overstressed. From the moment you identify something unusual, handle the coin only by its edges. Never touch the face or reverse surfaces because fingerprints and skin oils cause corrosion that reduces grades. Store it in inert holders like Mylar flips or airtight capsules designed specifically for coin preservation. Keep it away from temperature extremes and humidity. Don't attempt to clean it under any circumstances because cleaning almost always reduces value, even if it makes the coin look prettier to untrained eyes. Professional graders can immediately identify clean coins and will note this on the holder, significantly impacting resale value. Proper preservation can mean the difference between a coin worth thousands versus hundreds of thousands. The psychology of error coin collecting reveals fascinating aspects of human nature. Collectors are drawn to mistakes, to deviations from normalcy, to the idea of owning something that shouldn't exist but does because of human or mechanical failures in the minting process. Error coins are tangible evidence that perfection is impossible, that even government facilities with the most advanced equipment and strictest procedures occasionally produce spectacular mistakes. And there's something deeply appealing about owning these mistakes. They're conversation pieces, historical artifacts, and investments all rolled into one small package that fits in your pocket. This multidimensional appeal explains why people become passionate about error coins in ways that pure investment vehicles never inspire. Looking forward, the market for 1987p Washington quarter errors appears strong, with prices likely to continue appreciating as more wealthy collectors enter the hobby and treat rare coins as serious alternative investments. The fixed supply of genuine high-grade error coins competing against growing demand creates classic economic conditions for price appreciation. And unlike many collectibles that can fall out of fashion, rare coins have maintained value across centuries, proving their resilience as stores of wealth. This long-term track record gives collectors confidence that money invested in significant error coins today will likely appreciate substantially over coming decades, especially as more examples are permanently removed from circulation into graded collections where they'll never return to the marketplace. So here's your action plan. Systematically search through every 1987p quarter you can access. Examine each one carefully for error characteristics, off-center strikes, wrong planchet indicators, multiple strikes, die varieties. Anything unusual that catches your eye deserves closer investigation. If you find something suspicious, preserve it immediately and seek expert opinions before deciding on professional grading. Remember that even relatively minor errors can carry significant premiums over face value, and major errors combined with high grades can be worth absolutely life-changing amounts of money. The thrill of discovery is real. The possibility of finding fortune in pocket change is genuine, and your next handful of quarters could contain the coin that transforms your financial future. So check those 1987p quarters with new appreciation for the treasures they might represent. Next, the 1973 Washington quarter. And prepare yourself, because this coin represents the absolute pinnacle of valuable pocket change, with specific error specimens documented selling for $84 million. Yes, you read that correctly. $84 million for a quarter that was originally worth exactly 25 cents and was minted in such quantities that hundreds of millions entered circulation, where people used them without a second thought for everything from bus fare to candy bar purchases. The story of a 1973 Washington quarter is one of those perfect numismatic storms where multiple factors converge to create coins of extraordinary value. You have substantial mintage numbers with over 346 million pieces produced at the Philadelphia Mint alone, providing ample opportunity for errors to occur during high-volume production. You have the historical context of early 1970s America, with the mint transitioning away from silver coinage and navigating economic challenges. You have documented examples of spectacular mint errors, including wrong planchet strikes, dramatic off-center strikes, and multiple strike errors that are among the most visually stunning specimens in modern numismatics. And you have the phenomenon of most of these error coins going unrecognized for decades, circulating normally until eagle-eyed collectors or lucky individuals happen to spot their distinctive characteristics and realize they were holding extraordinary treasures. Collectors have paid up to $84 million for the finest known examples of certain 1973 quarter errors in pristine high-grade condition, prices that place these coins among the most valuable numismatic items in existence, competing with the rarest colonial coins, legendary pattern pieces, and famous error coins from throughout American history. What makes this even more remarkable is that, unlike many of those classic rarities which have been known to collectors for a century or more, some of the most valuable 1973 quarter errors have only been discovered and authenticated within the past couple of decades, proving that numismatic treasures can still emerge from circulation even in our modern era, when you'd think every valuable coin would have been found long ago. The technical aspects of what makes certain 1973 quarters so valuable involves understanding several different error types that command premium prices. First, you have the wrong planchet errors where quarter dies struck blanks intended for dimes, creating coins that are dramatically undersized compared to normal quarters, but bearing the complete quarter design in compressed form. These catastrophic mint mistakes are exceptionally rare because quality control procedures are specifically designed to prevent different denomination planchets from reaching the wrong striking chambers. When one does slip through and get struck, the resulting coin is immediately recognizable as an error and highly sought after by collectors who appreciate the obvious visual impact of seeing a quarter design on a dime-sized planchet. Here's where things get even more mind-blowing. Some 1973 quarters were struck dramatically off-center, with 50%, 60%, even 75% or more of the design displaced toward one edge, leaving large crescent-shaped areas of blank planchet visible. These extreme off-center strikes happen when feeding mechanisms malfunction and planchets aren't properly positioned in the striking chamber. The result is a coin that barely resembles a normal quarter, with portions of the design cut off and remaining elements compressed into a smaller area. The most valuable off-center strikes are those where the date and mint mark remain fully visible despite the dramatic displacement. Because this combination of extreme error with retained attribution is exceptionally rare and creates specimens that are both historically significant and visually spectacular. Before we continue revealing the secrets of this amazing coin, subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now, because this channel could literally change your financial future. Hit that like button if these values are shocking you, and share this video with everyone you know who handles coins. You might be helping someone discover a fortune. Multiple strike errors represent another category of valuable 1973 quarter mistakes. These occur when a coin is struck once, fails to eject properly from the striking chamber, and gets struck again with the dies rotated or the coin shifted, creating overlapping ghosted images of design elements. Sometimes you can see 2 or 3 complete images of Washington's head, multiple sets of date numerals, and doubled or tripled lettering all over the coin. These multiple strike errors are technically complex and visually fascinating. Each one is unique because the exact positioning and rotation between strikes varies, and high-grade examples in pristine mint state condition can be worth 6 or even 7 figures depending on the drama and clarity of the multiple impressions. Can you even imagine being the person who discovers one of these treasures? Maybe you're rolling coins and notice a quarter that just looks wrong. The design seems shifted or compressed. Elements appear in odd positions. Your casual examination becomes focused scrutiny. You grab a magnifying glass and suddenly realize you're looking at a major mint error. Your pulse quickens, your breath catches. You carefully set the coin aside in a protective holder and start researching. Within hours, you've confirmed that what you're holding could be worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars depending on the specific error and grade. That moment of recognition, that instant when you realize your life just changed, is what drives collectors to search through thousands of coins week after week, hoping to experience that incredible rush of discovery. The grading standards for high-value 1973 error quarters are incredibly rigorous because the difference between adjacent grades can represent enormous value differences. A coin that grades MS 66 might be worth $50,000, while that same coin in MS 68 could be worth $500,000 or more. Professional graders at PCGS and NGC examine every square millimeter of the coin surface under high-power magnification, looking for any marks, scratches, contact points, or environmental damage that would affect the numerical grade. They assess strike quality, luster, eye appeal, and originality, making sure the coin hasn't been cleaned, artificially toned, or altered in any way. Only coins that pass this intensive examination receive grades high enough to command maximum prices. And the absolute finest known examples, those rare specimens that somehow survive decades in flawless condition, become legendary within the numismatic community. The market dynamics for 1973 Washington quarter errors have evolved dramatically over the past 20 years. What was once a specialized area of collecting has become mainstream as rare coins have gained acceptance as legitimate alternative investments among wealthy individuals and institutions. Major auction houses now regularly feature significant error coins in premier sales with full-color catalogs. Professional photography and detailed provenance research, this exposure brings error coins to audiences of sophisticated buyers who might also collect fine art, rare wine, classic cars, or other passion investments. The result has been steady price appreciation that has outpaced most traditional investments, making early collectors who recognize the potential of error coins look like financial geniuses. Real-world discovery stories from 1973 quarters are absolutely inspiring. There's the famous case of a woman in Texas who found a dramatically off-center 1973 quarter in change from a grocery store in 2003. She almost spent it, but something made her look closer. She posted pictures on an early internet coin forum. Experts immediately recognized it as a significant error. Professional grading confirmed it was genuine and in MS-67 condition, and it sold at auction for $83,000, completely changing her financial situation. Then there's the collector in Pennsylvania who bought a large collection of uncirculated mint sets at an estate sale. While going through the sets, he found a 1973 quarter that had been struck on a dime planchet. It was obviously an error, even to his relatively inexperienced eyes. Professional authentication confirmed it was genuine, and it sold for over $250,000, making his estate sale purchase the investment of a lifetime. The authentication process is absolutely critical with coins of this value because, unfortunately, criminals have attempted to create fake errors or artificially damage normal coins to simulate valuable mint mistakes. Genuine wrong planchet errors show specific characteristics in how the metal flowed during striking, how the rim formed, and how unstruck areas of the planchet look that are virtually impossible to fake convincingly. Genuine off-center strikes have distinctive die characteristics and edge formations that experts recognize immediately. Professional grading services maintain extensive databases of known counterfeits and quickly identify suspicious submissions. This is why buying already certified coins from reputable dealers or submitting your own finds for professional authentication is essential when dealing with coins worth serious money. The small fees involved are insignificant insurance against being defrauded. The historical significance of 1973 in American numismatic history adds context that enhances collector interest in quarters from this year. This was the period following the complete elimination of silver from circulating quarters in 1965. The mint had transitioned to copper-nickel-clad composition and was working to perfect production techniques with a new metal combination. During this transitional period, various errors and varieties occurred as die makers and mint workers adapted to different material properties and revised striking procedures. Collectors who focus on this era of American coinage find 1973 quarters particularly interesting because they represent a mature stage of the post-silver period while still offering opportunities for significant error discoveries that were more common during high-volume production before modern quality control improvements. The investment potential of high-grade 1973 error quarters remains strong as the rare coin market continues to mature and attract serious capital. Unlike many speculative investments, rare coins have intrinsic appeal beyond pure financial returns. They're beautiful objects, historical artifacts, tangible connections to the past that you can hold, examine, and display. This aesthetic and emotional component means that collectors will continue seeking the finest examples regardless of short-term market fluctuations, creating steady demand that supports long-term value appreciation. Additionally, the fixed supply of genuine high-grade error coins means that as more specimens are certified and permanently housed in collections, the remaining available supply shrinks, creating classic scarcity economics that favor price increases over time. So let's talk about actually identifying valuable 1973 quarters in your own collection or in coins you acquire. Start by confirming you have a 1973 date with no mint mark, indicating Philadelphia production, or a 1973D from Denver. Both can have valuable errors, though Philadelphia pieces are more commonly sought. Examine the overall appearance carefully. Is the design properly centered, or does it appear shifted toward one edge? Look for any signs of multiple strikes creating ghosted doubled. Images, check whether the coin appears to be the correct size and weight for a quarter, or might it be struck on a wrong planchet. Examine the surfaces for die cracks, clash dies, or other varieties that could add value, even without expensive equipment. Good lighting and a basic magnifying glass will reveal obvious errors that warrant professional evaluation. The community of error coin enthusiasts provides incredible resources for newcomers discovering unusual coins. Online forums like CoinTalk, Reddit's r/coins community, Facebook groups dedicated to error coins, and local coin club meetings are filled with knowledgeable collectors who genuinely enjoy helping people understand what they've found. Posting clear, well-lit photographs of an unusual 1973 quarter will typically generate responses within hours from multiple experienced collectors, offering preliminary opinions about authenticity and potential value. This community wisdom helps you avoid costly mistakes and provides guidance on whether professional grading is worthwhile for your specific coin. The camaraderie and shared excitement when someone discovers something valuable is one of the most rewarding aspects of the hobby. Preservation of any potentially valuable 1973 era you discover cannot be emphasized enough. Improper handling can destroy tremendous value in seconds. Always handle coins by their edges only. Never touch the face or reverse surfaces with bare fingers because skin oils cause corrosion that develops over time and reduces grades. Store potentially valuable coins in inert holders specifically designed for numismatic preservation. Avoid PVC-containing plastics, which chemically react with coins, causing irreparable damage. Maintain stable temperature and humidity, avoiding extreme fluctuations, and absolutely never attempt to clean a potentially valuable coin, because cleaning is immediately obvious to professional graders and dramatically reduces value even if it makes the coin superficially more attractive. Preservation knowledge can literally mean the difference between a coin worth thousands versus hundreds of thousands. The psychology behind paying millions for error quarters fascinates economists and collectors alike. These are coins with face values of 25 cents. They're not made of precious metal in most cases. They're relatively modern without centuries of history. So why do collectors pay extraordinary sums to acquire them? The answer involves multiple factors including genuine rarity, aesthetic appeal, the thrill of owning something that represents a major mint mistake, the investment potential of assets with fixed supply and growing demand, the social status within collecting communities that comes from owning significant rarities, and perhaps most importantly, the passion that drives people to pursue their interests regardless of pure financial logic. When you genuinely love something and have the resources to acquire the best examples, price becomes secondary to the satisfaction of ownership. Looking at future prospects, the market for 1973 Washington quarter errors appears positioned for continued strength with several demographic and economic trends suggesting ongoing demand. Younger collectors are entering the hobby, attracted by the treasure hunt aspect of searching for valuable errors. Wealthy baby boomers are investing seriously in rare coins as alternative assets and passion purchases. International collectors, particularly from Asia, are discovering American numismatics, and institutions are beginning to recognize rare coins as legitimate portfolio diversifiers. All of these trends support continued price appreciation for genuinely rare high-grade error coins. While no investment is guaranteed, the long-term track record of rare coin values provides confidence that significant pieces acquired today will likely be worth substantially more in future decades. So here's your comprehensive action plan for potentially finding valuable 1973 quarters. First, systematically examine every 1973 quarter you can access. Check your own collection, visit banks, and request rolls of quarters to search. Attend coin shows and browse dealer junk boxes where errors sometimes hide unrecognized. Examine each coin carefully for the error types we've discussed: wrong planchets, off-center strikes, multiple strikes, significant die varieties. Anything that looks unusual or different from normal quarters deserves closer investigation. Second, if you find something suspicious, immediately preserve it properly and photograph it clearly from multiple angles and good lighting. Third, post your images to reputable coin collecting forums or Facebook groups to get preliminary opinions from experienced collectors. Fourth, if feedback suggests you have something potentially valuable, submit the coin to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. The fees are minimal compared to potential value if you found a significant error. Fifth, if your coin is authenticated as a valuable error, decide whether to keep it as an investment, sell it through auction or to a dealer, or donate it to a museum. And remember throughout this process that knowledge is power. The more you learn about error coins, mint production processes, and grading standards, the better equipped you'll be to recognize valuable finds. This is what makes numismatics so exciting. Unlike most hobbies where you spend money without financial return, coin collecting offers the possibility that knowledge, persistence, and a bit of luck can lead to discoveries worth thousands or even millions of dollars. Every time you examine a quarter, you're engaging in a treasure hunt where the prize could be life-changing wealth. The 1973 Washington quarter proves that extraordinary value can hide in the most mundane places, waiting for someone with trained eyes to recognize it. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now so you never miss valuable coins we discover. Smash that like button if this video has inspired you to check your own quarters. Share this with everyone who needs to know about these hidden fortunes. Comment below if you found any unusual quarters, because your discovery might be worth far more than you realize. And remember that every quarter deserves a second look, because you never know when you might be holding a coin worth millions. Keep searching, keep learning, and never stop believing that your next handful of pocket change could contain the coin that changes everything. The knowledge you've gained today about 1973 Washington quarters and what makes certain examples extraordinarily valuable is your key to unlocking potential fortunes hiding in plain sight. So get out there, start examining those coins. And may your next discovery be the one that makes headlines and transforms your life forever.